Hello and welcome to Unscripted with JJ and Jamie. JJ, today we have an amazing special guest. We have Adolfo Perez, and we could not be more excited to have you on here.
Well, thanks so much for having me here. I love the MVP conferences. I'll never forget, it was the first one after a pandemic that I actually spoke at, and you guys are just so warm and friendly and loving, and I love spending time with you guys. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. And I remember that that was 3 years ago, I think, or was it 3 years or like whatever it is? Like it's
a blur.
It is a blur. It's a blur.
Thank God.
Exactly. It's like a bad dream. But like one of the things that I just really absolutely love that you did is you dove in so deep and just being there for the travel agents during that time. And I think that's when I really got to know who Adolfo Perez is. But how did you get into the travel industry?
It's a very long story.
We have nothing but time.
So we have to go back 42 years.
Okay.
I was working at a health spa in the juice bar, and every once in a while they made me wash the dishes, which I hated because it was not that there's anything wrong with it. I just didn't like touching other people's plates and food, and it just grossed me out. And one day my boss came to me and said, listen, we're closing the juice bar, it doesn't make enough money, and you're going to have to be a dishwasher.
Oh.
And I had applied for Carnival probably a month or two before that, and that was because an old employee from there, a waitress, had started working at another cruise line, and she says, "Oh, I know you go on cruises. You can go for like $15 a day if you're an employee," and blah 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 blah. So I ended up applying. The only company that would interview me was Carnival, because I wasn't 18, I was only 16. And then so the day that she told me that I was going to be a dishwasher starting tomorrow. I went home and I happened to get a call from Carnival asking for my uniform size because I was starting in January. And I was like, yes! And the next day I went to the place and I said, listen, I'm leaving. I got another job. And she goes, oh, you didn't give me any notice. I said, well, you didn't give me any notice that I was going to be a dishwasher.
Right.
So I started January 2nd, 1982. We had just gotten the Tropical, so we really were just operating Mardi Gras, Carnival, and Festival, and then the Tropical had just arrived from the shipyard, and they needed more staff to help with embarkation, so that's how I got started at Carnival.
And
Never left.
What position did you start?
I was an embarkation agent, so I basically did check-in or greeting people at the gangway or doing what we called counts and the no-show list and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for quite a long time. I worked there for 2 years, and then I got a job in reservations at Carnival. And I worked the weekends at the pier. I worked 7 days a week for I don't know how long. I was a ticket ripper at Carnival once. Do you know what a ticket ripper is?
I'm assuming when they come through and when they check in.
No, ticket ripper. This is in the air-sea department, and we probably used to do like 80% air-sea back in the day. Mm-hmm. Now it's like minuscule, but the tickets, the old tickets that were printed on those red backed things. If it was just like a round-trip ticket, you only used 2 of the coupons. So the 3rd and the 4th coupon were voided, and you had to rip them. So it was my job to rip.
Right.
I did that for one summer.
I think when I went to, did it have a certain plate like that they rang it, or it was printed on, but it like a carbon, like almost like a carbon.
It was
copy?
like a carbon copy, yeah, with red ink. So anyway, any of the voided coupons I had to rip.
Wow.
I love companies that actually promote within.
Yeah.
And just hearing where you started to where you're at now, how long did it take you to get into an executive type role with Carnival?
So I at some point I became a reservation supervisor, then a res manager. And then back in 1991, my old boss, who was the director of reservations, she ended up deciding to be a full-time mother, and she left. And then what they did is they split the department. So res sales, which is what I was responsible for, and then reservations administration, which is sailing support, all that stuff that happens behind the scenes, berthing cabins, dining, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so they split it, and they promoted us to, so I ran the call center I would say, from 1991 until about 2011. So I became a director in 91, and then I got a promotion to vice president in, I think it was 97 or 98. Wow. And then eventually, I did that for 20 years. I got an opportunity to go to London, open up a sales and marketing office for us there, which was totally out of my comfort zone because I had never done anything like it, never lived anywhere else other than Miami. So it was, when they always say, push yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with, and it really did open up. First of all, it was just an incredible experience to get to live in London for 2 years on their dime.
Right, right.
And I got to do so many different things. I got to travel a lot personally and for business, got to go to cool places. Israel, I went to Abu Dhabi, I went to Spain a lot, I have friends that live in Spain, everywhere. So it really was an incredible experience. And then when I came back after my assignment was over, I worked in marketing for about 1.5 years, more or less. It was kind of not a real job. They had to bring me back. And my old job was obviously, given to somebody else in the call center, which I gladly gave up. So then did that for about 1.5 years. And then back in 2015, this job became available. And I started, with the sales team. And then over time, I've gotten, I have Australia, I have international sales, as well as trade marketing in Australia too. So we have an office in Australia that I'm responsible for.
Wow. I think JJ and I always say, what makes a good leader is somebody, a lot of things make a good leader, but when you went from dishwasher, it's like you can feel the pain of, or you can, feel that. You can see yourself doing that. Or being a ticket ripper. Or, I was gonna say, is that what you said? A ticket ripper. It's like, not that there's those positions anymore, but I think it helps as a leader to put yourself in your people's shoes, and I think that's one of the things that you shine. We've known Scott Vacrumba. Yeah. I think for 17, 18 years.
Wow. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, I went to a presentation that he was doing in Louisville, Kentucky. And he had not yet adopted his daughter yet. So, if we did the math on that, we would know exactly. Yeah. And he had mentioned to me that he was doing that. And I said, our daughter's adopted. And so we formed a connection even then. So then a few years later, when we started doing our conferences in Spring Mill State Park, I think our first one had 20, was it? 20. Scott was one of them.
And now you have 500 almost today?
That's here at this conference, yeah.
It's amazing. And such incredible growth.
And it doesn't happen overnight. This was, over 17 years of, just growing, and, like anything, when you said, the uncomfortable, how you felt uncomfortable, I literally 2 days ago told our COO, I said, if it's true what they say, when you're the most uncomfortable is when you grow. Or you're about to grow. Yeah. I said, get ready because we're about to grow, because it was something that was really making me uncomfortable. Yeah. And he, luckily I have
a tag that we say all the time is become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it is. And if I wondered, so when you went through every transition, was it just uncomfortable, the change, or the not knowing what it was going to be?
I would say the biggest scary thing was the going to London part. Yeah. I did other things. I opened up a call center in Colorado Springs. We also opened up, for a while, we had a call center that did brochure orders in Manila, so I got to go there. And those were all risks, that I had to take. But the biggest deal was leaving my job that I could do with my hands tied behind my back and blindfolded for 20 years to do something completely different in another country. And what I did was, I gave myself a very short deadline to decide. The way it happened was I was in a meeting with my boss and some of my colleagues, and she says, "Oh, we had just opened the Australia office. We're going to do our own sales and marketing in the UK, and I'm interviewing some people there. But I'd love to have somebody from inside if you have any ideas." And I jokingly raised my hand and said, "I'll do it." And she goes, "Really?" She goes, "I never thought you would want to move away." And I said, "Well, I'm sort of kidding," but I said, let's talk about it some more. So that was I think a Wednesday. And I spoke to her later that afternoon after the meeting, more details about it, although the details were limited. And then I ended up going, went to talk to my ex-wife and about the kids, because obviously I had two. I think there were like 12 and 15, or 10 and 15, something like that. And I said, I told them, I said, look, if you guys feel like I'm abandoning you, I'm only for 2 years, you guys can come visit. I'll come back to visit. But if you guys think that I'm doing something that's crazy, then I won't do it.
Right.
And they're like, yes, do it. It sounds exciting. We'll get to come. And so that was Thursday. And then over the weekend, I was texting my boss saying, well, I'm 75% sure. I'm 85. And then on Monday, I said, I'm doing it.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I don't know if you knew this, but Jamie and I, we lived overseas for about 13 years.
Where?
We spent 5 years in Italy, a year in Greece,
Oh, wow.
2 in Israel, 2 in Japan, 1 in Cyprus, 3 in Argentina, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Bulgaria, Amsterdam.
Wow. All that in
Canada.
13 years?
I bet
Yes.
I bet our paths crossed during
Yes.
those years, because that was 90.
That was 92 till
Two.
2003.
No,
Yeah.
I started in London in 2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, there's just something about traveling globally that just changes you. I mean, it changes you. And I think for the better. And that's why I love
And the ability,
travel.
I mean, when you're in Europe, you just have the ability to go to so many places so easily. I remember I'd fly on EasyJet for $49 or 49 pounds
Right.
each way to Spain, or, wherever you
Yes.
wanted to go. It was so inexpensive. And it just, like you said, traveling gives you a greater perspective on life, and having the ability to do it so easily really enhanced my experience there, for sure.
I heard about some pretty cool things that you guys have been working on at Carnival. If you want to tell me anything about the innovational things that you guys have been working on.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about Celebration Key, which I think is really innovative for us. We have a private destination, private island in Half Moon Key, which is an amazing, idyllic spot, one of our top-rated ports of call. Guests love the ability to go to some, like uninhabited place and really just kind of hang out and chill out. And it's a very chill destination. And we're always looking for, different port destinations. How do we help develop some of the existing ports? If you think about Amber Cove, Grand Turk, these are places where we've invested a lot of money in order to make these destinations a great place to visit, and also helping the local communities, because that's important to us. And then we finally, I think after I don't know how many years of trying to get a private destination in the Bahamas, we finally signed a deal with the Bahamian government to develop this amazing destination called Celebration Key. We just announced it a few months ago. And it's on Grand Bahama Island, which is the island Freeport's on, so it's close by. Obviously, one of the things that we're always looking at is not only guest experience and great things for guests to do, but we're looking for ways to conserve fuel. We have a very strong sustainability goals, and having the ability to get to a place that's so close to the U.S. From Miami, it's like literally around the corner, and we have 9 different home ports where we'll have ships that will visit Celebration Key, and it is this amazing destination. I wish I could show you some of the renderings that we have, but it has the largest freshwater lagoon in the Caribbean. It's going to have 2 lagoons. It has 5 different portals, where there will be a family fun one with slides, a big huge sand castle. The lagoons are just amazing. There's going to be an adults only area that will have swim up bars and lounging chairs and cabanas floating in the water. And then
That sounds like something
yeah,
that I would.
that sounds
you
like
could
fun,
catch
right?
me. Yeah, that's where you would find me.
There's a
Cabanas
beach
floating.
club, so for an elevated experience, you can go to the beach club, which would also be adults only. And there's a kids splash zone, and it's just going to be amazing. And there's a 1.2 miles of white sand beach.
Wow.
And we are so excited. What we're doing is we're drip feeding information as we get more info on the portals. I think we're about to announce the first one that we're going to announce, if we haven't already, is the adults only one. I think it's called Calypso Bay, but I can't remember for sure now. And what's great about this this place is, like I said, we like to leave places better than we found them when we get there, and all of the retail, the food, and everything is going to be with local Bahamian vendors.
Wow.
I
love that.
So we'll have artisanal things that we're going to sell from, or that they'll sell from the Bahamas, as well as different food options, and it's going to be really incredible. But
well, it sounds like
And when do you
someplace
see
that I'm
this-
going to have to go
When do you see
soon.
this launching?
so it's supposed to start in July of 2025. So the first cruises will start in July 2025. And the thing that's great about it too is, in Half Moon Cay, at least for now, we have to tender, which is never fun.
No.
And tendering, can be, suspended because of tidal conditions or whatever. So sometimes we have to miss the port, which is not, a great guest experience. So we're actually, this one will have, initially we'll have 2 piers that will accommodate up to 2 XL class ships. And eventually we're going to add a second pier, I think in 2027. So we'll have up to 4 ships that can dock at the same time. And we're also going to have the ability to build a pier in Half Moon Cay, which will change the experience a lot. Because it's like I said, it's one of the favorite locations, and last thing you want to do is have to miss that port.
Absolutely.
Currently, how many ships do you have in operation, and how many passengers do you join?
Do we carry?
Yes.
So we have 26 ships. The 27th will be joining the fleet. Will officially join the fleet, but she'll start sailing April 25th, which is the Carnival Firenze, which is one of the Costa ships that we took. So we took the Luminosa first. So that one was Carnival Luminosa, completely carnivalized. Even the funnel was painted, even though it's not the normal funnel. Then we got the Venezia, which we launched out of New York, doing year-round out of New York. And then eventually we'll do seasonal New York and Port Canaveral. And these ships were basically brand new. They were intended for the Asian market. And when all the blur happened,
Pause.
they pulled the ships and put them back in the Costa fleet. But because Carnival's demand was so high, it just made more sense. So they had just gotten 2 of the XL class ships themselves, and they were just, it had too much capacity for them in Europe, and it made more sense to move them over to the Carnival fleet. So those are in our fleet now. Firenze starts from Long Beach now in April, which I'm going to get to go see the naming. And then we just had the Carnival Jubilee join the fleet, which is the 3rd XL class ship that we have. She just started sailing from Galveston. I think December was a Christmas cruise. And what's really exciting is that we just found out we're getting 2 more XL class ships.
Really?
Yeah. So one 27, and I can't remember the date of it's probably soon thereafter, the 5th XL class ships. Those ships are really amazing. I don't know if you have you guys had the opportunity to be on one of those?
With the last ship we won
Celebration,
was
Mardi Gras.
We were on the
Mardi Gras. So that's not the original Mardi Gras, right?
It's I was at a press event with you.
No, I'm kidding. The original Mardi Gras was the first ship we ever had.
Yeah. But the Mardi Gras, when it came in, we went to a press event that you was at, and I think that was in 2021. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, and so we started sailing, I think it was July 31st of 2021, after the restart kind of happened.
Because I sit right behind you at that press event. So
those
cool.
those ships are total change in the way our ship designs are, and the number of outlets for food and bars and entertainment and everything. It's really fantastic. They've been super successful, so we're really excited that we're getting
Mardi
another
Gras is incredible.
Yeah, we loved it.
When you guys launched that and we went on that inaugural, we were like just blown away.
Yeah.
And actually our nephew that's the ship they went on their honeymoon.
Oh, really?
So, they went on their honeymoon on that one. Yeah. So, because we loved it, and they asked us, and we were like, "Oh, we think you'll love it," and they did, and they absolutely loved it.
Yeah, great. Well, the Celebration was the next one in line, and she's just as cool and beautiful. We made a few tweaks to her as well as on the Jubilee, and we're really excited that we're getting 2 more.
I love it.
So let me ask you this: so what would you like for a consumer to know about Carnival?
Carnival, we like to call ourselves America's Cruise Line because we have so many different home ports sailing out of the U.S. Carnival's accessible, so the fact that we have ships, in 14 different home ports around the U.S. makes it so much easier, economical for people to go on a cruise. So if you don't want to get on an airplane, like yesterday, I was, creeping delayed at 15 minutes until it was finally 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the cost of an airline ticket for a family of 4, imagine that. When you can pick up, get in a car and drive and, park at the port and
that could be a cabin.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, for sure. Probably 2 more cabins.
Yes.
And it's just that, plus, getting on an airplane is not like the most exciting thing going through TSA and all that stuff, although it's great because you get to see the world. But, there are some hassles when it comes to traveling by plane. So accessible, we welcome everybody on board. It doesn't matter what part of, what stage of life you're in. We have seniors, we have kids, we have couples, we have singles. Anybody, should feel welcome on board. And I think that one of the things that, makes Carnival different is not only the atmosphere that we create on board for our guests to feel comfortable and really have an ability to enjoy themselves, is that we are our crew. So, we're building beautiful ships. Like I said, the XL class has just been, extremely successful. The ships are beautiful. But at the end of the day, it's really what we call the software on board, which is our team, our crew members on board, our staff, our officers. They go out of their way to make people feel welcome. And when you go on a Carnival cruise, you feel like you can talk to people, and you don't feel like, and nobody's better than you are.
Right.
And, we did a conference on Carnival Dream a few years ago with one of our partners, and one of my colleagues at another cruise line said, "People talk to me in the elevator, I can't believe it. It's, it's not like that on XYZ brand." And I'm like, yeah, I know. People just feel
They're
comfortable. Yes. And there's some crazy stuff. There's a guy that has tattoos on his leg of a funnel, and every time he's been on a ship, he adds another funnel and the ship name next to it.
Wow.
There are some true diehard fans. It's a lot of fun. It really is. And we're not called the fun ships for no reason. Yeah. And remember too, fun is different for everybody.
Right. Exactly.
So for some people, it's getting in the action. Some people it's just watching the action. Some people it's like, sipping a cocktail at Serenity and reading a book. Or going on the roller coaster, or whatever it is, we have something for everyone. So I think that's the feeling that I'd like to give about Carnival, is that everybody's welcome and everybody can have a good time. They're kind of fun.
Yes. Can you share some of the most recent awards that you have received at Carnival?
Yeah, we got the Travel Weekly Awards, which is in New York every year, Reader's Choice Awards. Best for families, best domestic cruise line. Not that consumers would care. Best group group program.
And we like that.
Yeah.
Our MVPs would like
we
that.
Yeah,
you guys would like it. I don't know if it's the advisors watching or if you have
Everybody's
watching.
Both.
Yeah. So for the advisors, yes.
Everybody else, that's a good thing for the travel agents.
We've won Most Trusted Cruise Brand from Reader's Digest for, I can't even remember how many years now, maybe 5 or 6 years in a row. Wow. And look, it's not to take away from anybody else, because all the different suppliers offer great products. Ours is different than theirs, and theirs is different than ours. And at the end of the day, there's enough people out there. You were asking how many people. We carry over 6 million people a year. Wow. And that number is going to grow as our fleet continues to grow. So we'll have 27 ships in April. We'll have 27 operating ships.
Wow. That's wonderful. Amazing. Well, you are known for being an advocate for the travel agency or travel agents in this industry. What advice would you give, because we were talking about some of the positions that you held and, being uncomfortable. And, our agents a lot of times don't see themselves as entrepreneurs, or this is their business and they drive the ship of their business.
Yeah.
And that's scary a lot of times. But what advice would you give? Because you've probably seen it all, people that have left a career and then just made this booming business out of selling travel.
Yeah, so a couple of things I would say. Last year we kicked off a program called Your Winning Plan. And it was all about exactly what we're talking about. And, you know, when you think about independent contractors, people that are part of a host, a lot of times, like you said, they don't feel like they're their own business. And the last thing they think about is putting together a business plan.
Right.
And, you know, what I was saying during that time as we were going through this, we had 7 different events where we teamed up with the Small Business Administration to put together a template on how to create a business plan, because it doesn't matter if you're doing 100 bookings a year, 10 bookings a year, you need to have a plan, right? It is a business. It's not just, you know, it could be a hobby for somebody, I guess. But, you know, even if it's a hobby, like, why wouldn't you want to do the, you know, most out of it? And so, you know, take time to put together a business plan. How am I going to go to market? What are my goals?
Right.
If you don't set up goals ahead of time, how do you know how you're doing, right? You don't have a way to make adjustments. And then you have to review your performance monthly, weekly, however often you want to, because if you're falling behind, you can make adjustments in your marketing, you can make more phone calls, you can send out more emails, whatever it is, to drive more of that business so that you get back on track. Or if you're doing way better, then, you know, you get to pat yourself on the back. And not that you should ease off for the rest of the year, but, you know, hey, maybe this is going to be sustainable and I can continue to be as successful as I've been. So having those goalposts in place are important. The other thing too is education. Like, how do I learn more about the products that I'm selling? Because the more of an expert you are, the better chance you have of closing a sale and keeping a customer happy, you know, and coming back to you over and over. If you think about, you know, one of the values I think the travel advisors brings to the table is that they are able to match a person to the right, you know, we were talking about the different cruise lines, you know, everybody's different. Would this person be happy on Carnival? Maybe not. Maybe they'd be happier on, you know, Royal or something. But if you learn about the products that you're selling, become an expert, you have the ability to really advise. This is why everybody calls you guys travel advisors now. How do you you advise them on, you know, what the right cruise line, right ship, right itinerary, right cabin, and then on top of that, if you learn about the destinations that you're going to, that the ships go to, you could provide like little insights and secret. Oh, I know this great dive bar in Nassau that you should, you know, check out, or you know, this little diamond in the rough restaurant in San Juan or wherever. And those little tidbits of information really help you become more valuable.
The power of a story. And when you can add anything from a personal standpoint, it just strengthens the story.
I agree.
I love it. Well, friends, this is Unscripted with Jamie and JJ and Adolfo Perez. We cannot thank you enough for coming and sharing.
Well, thanks for having me.
Spending your
I appreciate
time with
it.
us this morning.
Of course.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
We love you too.